Right now, you are interacting with a miracle.
Every pixel on your screen, every line of code in your favorite app, and every thought an AI generates traces back to a single spark.
We're taught that computers were a mid-20th century invention, a product of Cold War labs and guys in white coats. But the blueprint for the digital age didn't start in a lab.
It started in the mind of a Victorian woman who was trying to outrun her father's madness. This is the story of Ada Lovelace.
She didn't just understand math, she saw the soul of the machine. And she predicted your smartphone 100 years before the first light bulb was even invented. To understand Ada, you have to understand her parents. Her father was Lord Byron, the rock star poet of the Romantic era.
He was famously described as mad, bad, and dangerous to know. When Ada was only a month old, her mother, Lady Byron, fled.
She was terrified that Ada would inherit her father's unstable poetic temperament.
Her solution?
A radical, 19th century version of an exorcism.
She forced Ada into a grueling schedule of mathematics, logic, and music. But you can't fight DNA.
Ada became a mathematical prodigy, but she did it with a poet's heart. She called her approach poetical science.
She didn't just see equations, she saw patterns, rhythms, and possibilities. In 1833, Ada met Charles Babbage. He was the father of the computer, but at the time, he was just a frustrated inventor with a giant pile of brass gears he called the difference engine.
It was a calculator.
A massive, steam-powered, mechanical calculator designed to solve math problems without human error.
Most people looked at it and saw a confusing clock. Ada looked at it and saw a gateway to another world. Babbage was working on a new design, the Analytical Engine. This wasn't just a calculator, it was a general-purpose machine.
It had memory, a processor, the mill, and it could be programmed using punched cards, the same technology used in silk looms. Babbage asked Ada to translate an Italian memoir on his machine.
But Ada didn't just translate it, she expanded it.
She added her own notes, which ended up being 3 times longer than the original text. In Note G, Ada wrote out a sequence of operations for the machine to calculate Bernoulli numbers.
This was it. The world's first computer program. It wasn't just a formula, it was an algorithm. She realized that if a machine could manipulate numbers, and those numbers could represent anything, letters, musical notes, or images, then the machine could think about anything.
Ada's most trending mic drop moment happened in 1843. While Babbage was still focused on math, Ada wrote, the analytical engine might act upon other things besides number. For instance, the engine might compose elaborate and scientific pieces of music of any degree of complexity or extent.
Think about that.
In a world of horse-drawn carriages and candlelight, she was predicting Spotify.
She was predicting Photoshop. She understood that software was a language that could translate the physical world into a logical one. Ada died young, at just 36, the same age as her father.
For a century, she was largely forgotten. History books gave all the credit to the great men like Babbage.
Her notes were dismissed as the ramblings of a woman with a famous father. But history has a way of correcting itself.
In the 1940s, during the heat of World War II, a man named Alan Turing discovered Ada's notes. He used her concepts of universal computing to help crack the Enigma code and build the first modern computers. He even debated her ideas in his famous paper on artificial intelligence, calling it Lady Lovelace's objection. Every time you type a line of code, or even just ask Siri for the weather, you are walking through a door that Ada Lovelace unlocked. She was the first person to realize that machines don't just crunch numbers, they expand the human mind.
We live in the world Ada imagined.
She was a poet who became a scientist to stay sane, and in doing so, she gave us the digital universe.
She once said, "I am more than ever now the bride of science." Today, we are all her descendants.